Before my eyes closed, my father's cries echoed in my ears. "Forgive me, Father. I couldn't be your good daughter." The thought remained in my mind, but I couldn't say it out loud. As soon as I opened my eyes, I saw an oxygen mask on my nose and mouth, a cannula in one hand, and bandages on the other. I was wearing hospital clothes, and there were many wires attached to me. I was shocked, and my head started spinning. When I closed my eyes again, I remembered everything. As soon as I opened my eyes, I saw my father sitting on a stool, resting his head on my bed. When I moved a little, my father got up, and I saw a flash of happiness in his eyes. He looked at me and started asking, "How are you feeling, dear? Is there any discomfort? Do you need anything? Are you in pain? Should I call the doctor? Wait, I'll bring the doctor." Saying this, my father hurriedly went to bring the doctor. Seeing him act this way made me feel happy. Within 2 or 3 seconds, my father returned with the doctor, along with my aunt and Soaib uncle from the neighboring house. But why is my aunt here? Isn't she in Dhaka? The doctor came and performed various checkups, then told my father to bring food for me. My father rushed out quickly. Soaib uncle sat beside me and asked, "How are you feeling now?" I nodded and said, "I feel good." I gestured to uncle, asking, "Why am I here? What happened?" Then uncle started telling me everything, and hearing it, tears came to my eyes. According to uncle, when I lost consciousness, my father was shouting loudly, "Nayla, Nayla, what happened, my dear?" Right then, Soaib uncle came running after hearing the screams. Seeing the situation, he was shocked. He said to my father, "Hey Ashraf, what happened to your daughter?" "Oh my, her hand is bleeding. That means she tried to commit suicide. We need to take her to the hospital. Get up, or she won't survive." Father had been in a daze all this while. Upon hearing about my potential death, he started saying like a madman, No, nothing will happen to my daughter." Then, the two of them quickly took me to the hospital. Many people said many things along the way. Upon reaching the hospital, the doctors declared me a serious patient and shifted me to the emergency room. After quite some time, the doctor came out and said, "The patient's condition is serious. She has lost a lot of blood. The nerve in her hand has been cut, and she has taken many different pills, including Alzin, Surgel, Renova, and several other medications. We have stitched her hand in 3 places. Due to the high dose of medicine, it will take time for her to regain consciousness. You know the healthcare facilities in the village are not very advanced. We don't have sophisticated machines here. Therefore, I suggest you take her to Dhaka Apollo Hospital. Otherwise, it will be critical to save the patient. If you agree, we can inform the doctors there, and our ambulance can get you there quickly." My father immediately agreed to make the arrangements. He cried the entire way while Soaib uncle consoled him. My father is an extraordinary person, hiding his own countless pains and sorrows behind a false smile just for the happiness of his children. There is no one else like a father in this world. As soon as we reached Dhaka, Soaib uncle cleverly called aunt and informed her about the situation. Since we had already contacted the doctors, there wasn't much trouble, and I was quickly shifted to the emergency department. After 3 continuous hours of surgery, the doctor came out of the operating room. Seeing the doctor, my father anxiously asked, "Doctor, how is my daughter?" The doctor, removing his gloves, said, "Relax. She is out of danger for now. We have washed her stomach and removed the toxic substances. The nerve was cut quite deeply, so we had to stitch it again. She has lost a lot of blood, so we had to give her a transfusion. She will need to be under observation for 4 hours. Your daughter's blood group is AB negative, which is rare. We had 3 bags available and have used them, but she will need 1 more bag of blood. If your blood matches, that would be good. Otherwise, you'll need to manage it from somewhere else because we will need to give her more blood after 4 hours." After testing my father's blood, we found out that his blood group is A positive, which doesn't match. By then, my aunt had arrived, and before she could react to the situation, my father said, "Sanju, please do something. If anything happens to my daughter, I won't survive. She is my last hope. You know everyone. Please arrange for the blood." Seeing my father's tearful face, my aunt didn't say anything and started calling everyone she knew to ask for blood. It turned out that a woman living in the flat next to my aunt's had a matching blood group. She came and donated blood. My father, with folded hands, had requested the woman for blood, surprising everyone because my father never bowed to anyone. When the woman gave blood, he repeatedly expressed his gratitude. Every now and then, my father kept asking the doctors, "When will my daughter wake up? Will she be all right?" Soeb uncle repeatedly tried to reassure him that I was out of danger, but my father remained restless. Due to not eating all day, my father's condition began to deteriorate. Despite Soeb uncle's efforts, he couldn't convince my father to eat. My father apparently said, "Soeb, what are you talking about? My daughter is on the brink of death. She hasn't eaten anything. How can you expect me to eat in this situation?" My father hadn't eaten anything yet and was sitting by my side, waiting for me to regain consciousness. I started thinking, does my father love me this much? I never realized it before. Father never talked to me properly, but whenever I needed something, he would bring it without any questions. And today, he has done so much for me. What kind of daughter am I that I didn't understand my own father? How could I understand others when I couldn't even understand someone I loved for 2 years? Suddenly, I thought of Surav. Does Surav know about this? Has he come to see me? He loves me a lot. Surely, if he heard, he would come running here like a madman to see me. This thought made me happy. I started peeking at the door, and after a few seconds, I saw someone coming. I thought it might be Surav and felt embarrassed. With eager anticipation, I looked up only to see my father coming with food. My heart broke instantly, and I felt pain again. Father sat beside me with the food. With one hand, he gently stroked my head, and with the other, he adjusted my mask. He took the plate of food and started feeding me. I stared at him in amazement, unable to recall the last time he had fed me like this since I was little. And now here he was, feeding me with his own hands. Seeing me staring, he said, "What's wrong, dear? Why aren't you eating? Don't you feel like it? All right, just eat a little so you can take your medicine." I didn't say anything. Father kept talking on his own. Seeing him so anxious for me made me feel very happy because I used to think that no one loved me and that I belonged to no one. I gestured to my father. "Father, you eat." He didn't understand and kept asking, "What? Do you need something?" Then Soeb uncle said from the side, "She's telling you to eat or else she won't." Father said, "All right, look, I'm eating. Now you eat too." As soon as he started eating, I began eating as well. We took turns, one bite for him, one bite for me. Seeing this scene, a nurse nearby commented, "Nowadays, girls try to commit suicide at the slightest upset. Do they ever think about how many lives are intertwined with theirs? What a world we live in." Before she could finish, my father sternly scolded her, and everyone around us shivered. My father, angered, shouted, "You think you got this job with money, so you're saying such things. Do you not have even a bit of common sense? You're making derogatory comments to a patient suffering from depression, breaking their spirit. You should always support patients with depression, boost their morale, and understand them. Instead, you're discouraging her even more." He continued to lecture the nurse, who apologized and left out of fear for her job. In the afternoon, the hospital discharged me. During this time, no one asked me why I did what I did. But if they had asked, what would I have said? At the reception, we saw a hefty bill. My father had brought nothing with him when he came, and we had come with So'uncle's money. Father asked my aunt for a loan, but she said, "Why should I lend you money? I'll give it because she's my niece." But father insisted on taking the money as a loan. Given my fragile state, it was decided that we would stay at my aunt's house. Standing in front of my aunt's house, my father and aunt held me on either side. I hadn't spoken a word all this time. Throughout the journey, I was lost in memories of the time spent with Surav. Those days seemed so happy, and now, thinking about them brings sorrow. How could I have been so naive? I didn't understand love in 2 years. Why did he suddenly stop liking me? He used to like me a lot before. He always said there was no one like me, that he loved me very, very much, and that he could do anything for me. When he said those things, my cheeks would turn red with embarrassment, but now those words make me angry. Surav said I was his passion, and he was my passion. Can I forget him? Can I really forget him? Is it really that easy to forget love? I'm serious. He's not just my passion. I truly love him. Can I ever forget him? As we entered my aunt's house, my cousin asked her mother, Who are they? It didn't surprise me at all because I didn't know them either. My aunt hastily introduced us and took us inside. Strange, isn't it, that I don't know my own aunt and her family? It's not surprising, though, because my aunt has lived in Dhaka since childhood. She has one daughter and one son, whom I had never seen because they never visited our village after I was born. After my mother passed away, my aunt visited our house many times to persuade my father to remarry, but he never agreed. Why he didn't agree, and what they discussed, I don't know. They never talked about such things in front of me. We were given a guest room to stay in at my aunt's house, and my father didn't leave my side for even a moment. I wondered if he knew that even with thousands of people around me, I would still feel alone. He kept asking, "How are you feeling now? Do you need anything?" I just shook my head without saying a word. Did he know why I wanted to commit suicide? He never asked. Soon, Diba Appa came with a little girl carrying a glass of sherbet. Given the heat in Dhaka, it seemed she brought it to cool us down. She gave my father one glass and held another for me to drink. I was very thirsty, so I drank it without saying anything. Diba Appa then sent my father to her mother's place. She asked me, "Nayla, I knew I had a cousin, but I had never met you. Today was the first time, and now I learned that you wanted to commit suicide. How could you take such a drastic step? I know you're young and emotional, but suicide over something so trivial?" I looked at her, thinking, trivial? Is this trivial? And what is this about being emotional? Everyone keeps saying emotional, emotional, emotional. What the hell? What is this emotion? Is my love so insignificant? Do I not understand emotion and love? Only I know how much I love him. It hurts the most when someone dismisses my love as just emotion. If someone could be in my place for even a moment, they would understand the pain of separation. Why does no one understand? Why does everyone see it as trivial? If Mom were here, she would understand me, wouldn't she? Mom, why aren't you here? Why did you leave? Why does everyone leave me? Mom, don't you think of me after all these years? Can't you come and see how much I'm suffering? No one understands me here. Mom, I need you so much today. I wanted to leave this world because of the pain, but Dad stopped me. No, I want to leave this world. I don't want to stay. But Dad, to be continued.